Fruitful trees, thank you for joining us tonight. We have a very special guest. This is Julian Lara from Lara Farms in Miami. The links are below, and we're going to have a Q&A tonight. We'd like to do this a couple of times a year to take your questions, and 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 I know you all have some questions, so please post them on the side chat. I see the questions already coming in. Before we get started, Julian, do you want to say hello or anything to the people before we get started with the questions?
Hi, everybody. Julian here from Lara Farms, here in Redland, Florida, where it all started. The agricultural district of Miami-Dade County.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
The agricultural district of Miami-Dade County. And, very happy to be here. Thank you. I'm here eating a Key West Mamey that I froze. Just like this with the skin and everything.
I wanted to talk to you about that. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a talk actually for the Rare Food Council in one of the Rare Food Gardening Council in Fort Lauderdale. It's my first talk for a Rare Food Council. I'm excited. And I'm going to be talking about if you want to eat healthy, what's the best fruits to grow? And I'm really excited about that. So this is a great topic to ask you this question. So I've learned dehydration, folks, it's a good way to preserve your food, but it's not healthy. It's not healthy because you need the liquid in the food. You could rehydrate it, but it's still not healthy.
Freeze dried.
Now, but even freeze drying is still taking the liquid out. It's still taking the liquid out.
Yeah, but we have to. This is survival food. It's not,
Well, no, it's survival food if we need to be survival, but just to do it for a snack, I think regular freezing, it's not as long as freeze drying. It doesn't hold the nutrients like freeze drying, but it still has the liquid in there. Because when you take a mango and you throw it out, it's like water, it's like liquid. But if you take a freeze dried mango, it's like crunchy and there's absolutely no water in there.
It's like a chip.
It concentrates the sugars. So yes, you might be preserving some of the nutrients in freeze drying, but you're gonna lose the liquid. And I think
more than dehydrating, right?
What?
It preserves it more than dehydrating.
It preserves it more than dehydrating, but you're still dehydrating it. Well, you're freeze drying it, but either way, I think the liquid is really important. So that's a topic for people.
Well, nothing beats freezing. This frozen mamey is phenomenal. It
absolutely
it transforms into another animal.
I had a mamey at your house, at Tom's house, that was frozen. It tasted like strawberry shortcake. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, taste is subjective.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, this to me is really good stuff. If you like mamey, this is the way to do it. I mean, putting it in a blender is kind of a same. It comes out good too, but eating it like this is the way to go.
Yes. So before we get started, lower your camera. No, raise your camera just to drop so we see the top of your head. Okay, there you go. Perfect. All right, everybody. So for those of you that don't know, this is Julian Lara from Lara Farms, Miami. He has a farm and homestead. And right away when I got into growing fruit trees and everything else, I knew there was more than just one variety of each particular fruit. And many of us know there's many varieties to mangoes, but even black sapote and egg fruit has several different varieties. And most of the nurseries they won't even know the names. Like if you go to a nursery and you buy like a star apple, they're like, well, we got green and we got purple, but that's it. And they don't even know there's different varieties of like Aki and other things, but that impressed me about Julian's site because he has so many varieties of different things. I'm going on Facebook Marketplace now because I just like to curiously see what avocados people are selling because a lot of people post, and every single one of them just says large avocado.
Yeah, avocado for sale. What kind of an avocado?
Yeah, it's such a big difference.
That we are pretty much experts in the field. We know avocado inside out, from how to clone them, which is another word for grafting them, and to which are the most sought after varieties. Because that's the whole reason why we do grafting, is because we want clones of the same thing to fill up a whole farm. We want a whole farm of Harvard graduates. Well, maybe not Harvard graduates, but definitely some serious stuff, some good stuff. We want only doctors. We don't want any delinquents. Nobody grafts delinquents. We only graft doctors.
Sure. Well, what I found out from you this year, so we're always learning, and I learned something. It is important, everybody, for me to tell you what I found out is every single fruit here that grows in South Florida is absolutely amazing. And if you get a fruit that doesn't taste amazing, it just wasn't picked at the right time. It just everyone. There's no such thing as a bad fruit. If you get a bad fruit, I mean the crazy, terrible Florida avocados we get from the supermarkets that for years and what most people think is a Florida avocado is actually an amazing tasting avocado, but they're just picked at the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened with Donnie.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
it's legal to sell it when it tastes terrible because it has the right size that time of the year when avocados are really expensive, and that's why it has a bad rap because I mean, the poor avocado is doing itself an injustice getting so big so early, and in the season. So instead of holding on, it drops sometimes too early in the season, or it gets picked too early in the season, and it doesn't, so that doesn't taste, to what we like. Some people don't have a problem with it. Some people like watery avocados, but it doesn't, stand up to what we like.
yes. All right. So we're gonna do some Q&A tonight. Get your questions in on the side chat, everyone. Or if you, besides the Q&A, if you want Julie and I to just have a discussion, we have great discussions as well. But I want to open up this for questions. So thank you everybody for joining. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe because we got a lot more great videos coming up. Really super videos. I could tell you. In a couple of days, we're going to have one with Julian showing the best way to graft an avocado. And I learned several things from that video. So that's going to be really cool. So look out for that. And again, the links are below for Julian's website, laurafarmsmiami.com. First question is from Rascu Powell is what is the deal with several coconut cream mango trees snapped off in a graft during the hurricane?
Oh, really? Sometimes they don't even need a hurricane for the graft to separate from the rootstock. For some reason, it's not compatible. It's not compatible to itself. I mean, maybe it's compatible to itself. Maybe it needs to be grafted on a coconut cream seedling as a rootstock instead of, let's say, a turpentine. I mean, coconut cream is another animal, such a different animal from regular mangoes that I'm not surprised it's not compatible with regular mangoes. It probably needs to be grafted with somebody in its family. Who's in his family? What is coconut cream a seedling of? Maybe that will be a good rootstock. Coconut cream itself, a seed from a coconut cream could be a good rootstock for it, but do I know this for sure? No, I'm just speculating. But that would make sense because it is something when trees are not compatible, when you graft something that's not compatible, the graft will split. Sometimes just by its own weight, because it weighs so much that's like we can't hold on to it anymore, and it just crack off.
So I heard the coconut cream, some of the grafts at one point at a nursery. I think I know the nursery, but they put out a bunch of trees on a bad rootstock or not a good rootstock for that, and they just happened to have not a lot, not like many, but a lot of trees that were grafting on this rootstock where without even a hurricane that was an issue, and it was creating an issue. That's what I heard. But I know they corrected the problem, but I wonder, the question is if the trees that are snapping now, were they all planted around the same time? Maybe they're from that same lot, you know?
Maybe they're from the same batch. I mean, mine, I have one in the ground that's probably 20 to 25 years old. So it's a big tree. And that thing is super leggy and it grows all funky. It doesn't bother me at all, but it does grow really funky. It's
Yeah,
not
they
a,
all
it's
do,
not
yeah.
a, it's not, it's like, kind of like wants to be a pine tree or something. It's weird.
They all do. They grow that shape, the coconut creams.
but it doesn't bother me. I mean, I just see it as an individual that's how they look. But in the fruit is phenomenal. I gave my mom has always been a Carrie fan her whole life, and I let her have a coconut cream that first time, and she was like, "Wow, this is amazing. This is just something even better."
One thing about the coconut cream, everyone, you have to be patient with that one. I see people, they say, oh, this tree's not fruiting, and they get rid of it. Don't get rid of it because it takes a little bit longer to fruit. But when it starts fruiting, it does absolutely amazing. But it just takes a little longer than your average mango.
They fruit for me in a pot sometimes, like in a 15-gallon pot or a
Wow.
25-gallon pot. They can fruit.
Yeah, they're
A lot of
amazing.
my trees in 25 gallons, I have them tied up to cables though, so they don't fall down with the wind. You can have flowers on there, you can have fruit on there, and if it falls down, it's gonna go splat all over the place. So I have them tied up to cables, and I managed to get fruit.
Yeah. Well, I wanna try to get through as many questions as possible, so we won't get too deep into everything unless it's a really hot topic. But the next question is the Campbell white sapote a superior fruit?
Yeah. I mean, I had made a video that went kind of viral, I guess, about the Campbell. It was me at Trek eating that fruit for the first time. And I made like a selfie video. And I was like, this may be the best fruit I've, period. Not just the best variety, the best fruit, period. And I was really confused. Like, what's better, this or Mamey? Or what's better, this or mango? And you yourself was saying the other day, or just now, that frozen white sapote may be the best thing in the world, maybe better than mango.
Oh, yeah, I like white sapote better than fresh mango. Taste is subjective, but mango grows the best here, but it's not first on my list. But taste is subjective. But white sapote is amazing, and Campbell is
I
the
mean, I'm
best of the best.
conflicted with a lot of. I feel really conflicted with a lot of fruits, and another one being durian. Really conflicted
Oh,
with
well,
durian.
I'm talking about fruits we can grow. I mean, durian is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
number one fruit in the
I
world.
have
But
this I have this bizarre relationship with durian where I want it so much and I can't have it.
yeah, well, you can, but it's crazy expensive to get it frozen here. But unfortunately, but
I know.
durian, if anyone has an opportunity to taste durian, I'll take a durian over a white sapote or a mamey any day or a mango or anything. It's absolutely amazing. But even like durian, you got to get a good one. I mean, you can get a bad one and say this isn't good. So you got to get a picked at the right time
Yeah.
and
Can you
frozen.
imagine? Can you imagine being an orangutan in Malaysia and all you do all day is look for durian?
Yeah. Yeah, I have friends that go to Malaysia and they that's what they do. That's what I did. I went to Malaysia just to find fresh. I literally went there for fresh durian and I ate it and I loved it. It was amazing.
I totally would have gone too.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, all right, here's another question. How big does the May avocado get?
Um, Pretty good size. Maybe a little bit bigger than Simmons.
It's founder, right? It's more round than a Simmons,
Well,
right?
it has a short neck, has a short neck, and it's pretty fat around. It's a big avocado. It's not a little. I mean, the tree can make a range of sizes. Some being a little bit smaller than Simmons, to as big as Simmons, to bigger than Simmons. But there's a picture. I have a picture on my Facebook, on the Lara Farms Facebook, the real Lara Farms. There's another Lara Farms out there that's fake, and they're scamming people with my good name and try to trick them out of a tree that doesn't exist, and then they block them or something. And I get phone calls. I've been getting phone calls for a long time, but it has stopped. Thank God, it has stopped. But anyways, my Facebook has over 4,000 followers, so that's a good way. That's a good way to weed out the scammers and the fakers, posers. So, anyways, um, go on my Facebook and you scroll down to maybe 2022, like around May. you'll see a picture of an atme. I'm holding it in my hand. You see, you'll be able to see the size of the fruit, and it's cut, and the date is posted on there when the picture was taken. It was like on sometime in May. So yeah, that's what you should do. Go to the Facebook and look at the picture as a reference. You can just click on photos, that way you don't have to be scrolling down.
Yes. All right. Another question here. And we also in the video we did, I think we've had a couple of atmays in the video. So
That's another thing. Yeah, you can go and watch the video we did with Tom Sleepy Lizard, and you'll see us actually eating it and cutting slices. And so you'll be able to see the size of the fruit.
yep. All right. Another question is about the Jamaica Mamey. It says some people say it's a dwarf tree. What's the size of the tree or the habit of the growth?
Well, the tree that's at the research center has been there since I was born. It was planted in 1972, which is unbelievable. Has a big trunk, a big tree, and it gets pruned, it gets cut back into a cube shape. They top it, and they work the sides, and it's like a rectangle. The whole road looks like a rectangle. And that's how they do it. That's how they manage those trees over there to stay uniform and the same size for decades. And this has been around for decades. And so it's hard for me to tell if it's a dwarf because it's already a big tree. Because even Julie, if you have a Julie tree that's 25 years old, okay, and it's out in open sun, it's going to be a big tree. You're not going to walk by it and say, "Hey, that's a dwarf mango tree." You probably won't be able to tell it's a dwarf because it's going to be so big. And I've seen Julies that are humongous trees because they're 40 years old or something. So is it a dwarf? I hope so. That'll be a great touch to it. But I wouldn't bet any money on it.
And for people to understand, dwarf tree just means it grows slower. It still gets very big. It takes a much longer time to get big.
Well, if you compare it to like a Pace or a Key West, they get cut down too. You can't compare it. That's another thing. It hasn't. A lot of trees have been out already.
Yeah.
Yours has grown significantly. You got it in a 1 gallon pot, and that thing's probably like almost 3 feet tall or more than 3 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah. I upgraded it several times.
So in a couple of years from now, you might be getting your first fruit. That'll be another thing to study is if it's precocious. Does it flower right away or does it take a long time to flower? Because Pace and Magana, they flower immediately. Like in a year or so, sometimes even sooner they start flowering. It's not going to hold the fruit, but it wants to make flowers. It's very precocious.
Our next question, have you heard of Lucuma fruit?
Yeah, that's like a Peruvian thing. It's the same family as Mamey and Canistel. They say it's very similar to Canistel. Maybe better than Canistel. I haven't tried it personally. I don't want to try it frozen. I know they have it frozen in the supermarket, but I heard it makes really good ice cream, just like Canistel does. Canistel is another fruit that turns into another animal when you turn it into a milkshake, or if you freeze it, or if you make an ice cream with it. They turn into a different animal. It gets even better. Just like Mamey. Mamey gets even better when you freeze it or when you make ice cream with it, which I want to do one day. I want to sell Mamey ice cream here at the farm, like soft serve, Dairy Queen style. Just get your Dairy Queen Mamey here.
All right. Somebody asked, Mandy asked, I have a Pace Mamey and it's around 13 years old. The tree flowers every year, but the fruit get as big as your thumb, then fall off. What can I do?
Usually when that happens, it's the tree's way of aborting. fruit with no seed inside, with no viable seed inside. Now, my question would be to this person is if they think that their mamey tree is the only mamey in the neighborhood. Because if his mamey tree is the only one in his neighborhood, it's not going to make any fruit. It will try to make fruit, desperately try to make fruit, but if it doesn't have a viable seed inside because it hasn't been pollinated by another mamey tree that is flowering, it's not going to make any fruit. It's mamey is not self-pollinated.
Okay. Another question here is, I placed an order months ago for Jamaica Mamey. Do you know when we can expect it? I believe it was back in February.
Right. Well, we're going to hopefully have some mameys. We grafted about 50. And everybody is going to receive their trees in the order that they came in. So hopefully the next 50 people being served, hopefully that person is those next 40 or 50 people. Right now, I just checked and we have found 5 Jamaicas that are ready to go. So those are going to go out next week. So 5 more people are to get it. So we're working on it. We're working on it. And there's only one tree in existence I can harvest budwood. I went there the other day to get more budwood, and I didn't get any because they weren't mature enough. They're too tender. And I don't like, that's not going to work. So I have to wait until those things harden up a little bit and are ready to push again. So
All
that's
right.
the deal.
So somebody asked, can you tell us about the latest Jamaica varieties, the Mamey varieties, the Jamaica and the 2 cultivars from Guatemala? Well, there's 3 cultivars, right?
Right. All right. So I'll start with Jamaica first. What makes Jamaica really special for me, I mean, not aside from the taste, because everybody seems to like the Jamaica. I thought it was really good. But what's really makes it really important is the season it makes fruit. It's pretty much the missing link between Key West and Pace, for example. The time that we stop having fruit, that we don't have any more mameys. Mameys are out of season until the spring when Key West finishes. And Key West finishes historically for everybody around September, October. Like I'm almost out of Key West. And I don't pick large amounts at the same time. I pick them little by little because I sell them on the website. So let's say it finishes in September, October. There's no more mameys until, March, which is when Magana and Key West come in. So, sorry, hold on. I'm back.
Okay.
Jamaica makes fruit from December all the way down to June. So it's covering a portion of the dead season, the dead time, when there's no mamey fruit.
Right, everybody, hold on. I think he's getting a phone call. There you go.
Yeah. I don't know if people are calling me or my daughter, me and my daughter share the same phone line. So anyways, yeah, it covers the space that is missing. It's the missing link for the time when there's no mamey fruit. So that's what's really important about the Jamaica, because there's Tazumal makes fruit in January, and Tazumal is a great mamey too, but it has uneven ripening. So Jamaica and Tamal, we can say, are 2 off-season mamey fruits, and Viejo too. Viejo is another one that makes fruit in January. But the best out of those 3, as far as quality and reliability, I think is Jamaica. Tazumal doesn't ripen evenly, and Viejo is, you know, a mediocre Mamey at best. Some people think it's really good. It's really creamy. It's a different animal. It's a different kind of Mamey experience because it's not like a Key West. It's very pasty and creamy, and it's almost purple in color. It's so dark red. But sometimes they're sweet, sometimes they're not so sweet. It's like hit or miss with Viejo. But Jamaica is always a home run every time you eat one of those. It's always a home run. So, and it comes at a time when there's no Mamey. So it's a really important variety. And I'm just trying to spread this cultivar to every corner of this country so that it doesn't get lost. There's only one tree in existence, and we could have had a hurricane plow through here and destroy the Jamaica Mamey. I'm already preparing places at my nursery to top work Jamaica onto existing Key West trees. I'm going to start replacing probably like 4 or 5 Key West trees with Jamaica. And G1 and G3 Mamey, which is another cultivar that hasn't been named yet. I'm just referring to it as G1, the first one that I tried. Well, actually, the first one that I tried, and the second one that I tried was the third tree that I ran into because the second tree didn't have any fruit. And then when I encountered the third Guatemalan seedling, it had fruit on it. And I ripened it, and I thought it was very red and very fruity. Had a really nice fruity flavor for Mamey, because Mamey, it's not very fruity fruit. It tastes like sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie. That's not fruity. It doesn't mean it's bad, but this one is pretty fruity. But I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Me and everybody I know who's tasted it says it tasted like cherries.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. And the first thing I did is I send you a box.
Yeah.
I got 2 or 3 together and put in a box and I sent it to you. And I kept on trying it throughout the summer because it makes fruit in the summer. Just in the summer, just like a Key West. The season of this Mamey is no big deal. But the flavor, that's what got me on, And the flavor in Jamaica is good too. It's like a Miss Universe. I'm looking to put a Miss Universe pageant of tropical fruit on my website every day. Try to find the most beautiful, best tasting fruits out there. Get them over here, rescue them, conserve them, and spread them out. Make sure you have one, your neighbors have one, anybody in America. Because it's, I tell you, a hurricane can plow through here one day and it's all over. It's all over for me too. My business will be wiped out. This is a crazy business. If it's not hurricanes, it's like getting a frost and everything freezing and dying. It can happen. So, I can be around today all happy and cheerful, and then another moment I'm going to be down in the dumps. And it's happened before, and we just, tighten up your belt, put on some boots, and get to work.
Yeah.
Hopefully things work out.
Somebody's asking, is the Tazumal Mamey, will it get huge like the Key West Mamey tree?
Yeah. It's a big tree. Tazumal likes to grow straight up. So it's one of those Mameys that's competing for sunlight in its natural habitat, which is the rainforest. So it's looking to, to dominate and get big. I have trees here that are like 40 years old, 45 years old. And I got to cut these trees in half, for real. They're getting too big. It's like a rainforest over here.
Back up a little so we could see your whole face, Julian. Yeah. Some of you are going to say, well, I'm being rude, I'm interrupting him, but so many of you have questions, and I want to make sure we get to them all. So bear with me here, everybody. But I want to get to as many as possible. So I'm not gonna stop if he's giving good information, but we could talk about each question for an hour, which we should one night. But next question is, uh, will the Trump persimmon seedlings be in stock? When will they be in stock?
Well, I'm gonna graft them on black sapote, and I had planted a whole bunch of Diospiros virginiana, and those things, hard to germinate, hard to get going. But black sapote isn't. Black sapote is very easy. So I'm gonna try to graft it on black sapote this spring because that's the only time you can graft these things. I can't graft it anytime I want to, like mango and mamey. Graft it pretty much all year round. Same thing with Fernandez and San Pablo. I can only graft that in the spring when it's coming out of dormancy. If I miss that window, I missed that window. I got to wait for the following year. And same thing with persimmon, same thing with sugar apple, same thing with Adamoya. Some people are claiming to graft it in the fall, but it has been done, but it's not as easy to graft in the fall as it is in the spring.
Okay, somebody's asking, they would like to ask about K40. I got 3 trees and they all died within 1 to 2 months. This has never happened with any of my other 15 mameys. Could it be a sign that it does not do well in my area?
Um, when I hear that, it's most likely from it just out of statistics, just talking statistically, most likely it's from too much water. And mameys have a reputation of liking a lot of water. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it likes a lot of water if you don't have good drainage. So some people, buy a tree and they put it in a bigger pot, which is fine. They can put it like in a 2 or 3 gallon pot, from a 1 gallon to a 2 or 3 gallon. But some people put it in a 7 or 15 or 25, and then the dirt never gets dry. It's wet permanently. And that's the problem. They don't like drinking old water. If it's not fresh, they're not going to drink it. Just like us, we like to drink fresh water. We don't like to drink old water, or water's been there for weeks. And that's statistically that's the case for early deaths. And when a tree dies all of a sudden from one day to another, like today was fine, and tomorrow it's dead. That's from lack of water. That's what happens when you get lack of water. They die. They die right away. They get really sad, and all the leaves change color. And if it's too much water, it's a slow death. And if it's a small tree, the death can be even faster because there's less root system. So what to do in this case would be test the soil moisture with your finger or buy a moisture meter and test the soil before you water. Make sure, pick it up, see if it's heavy. If it's one day, it's like, wow, this is significantly lighter, significantly drier. And I'm going to water again. And when I water it, I'm going to mix the water a little bit with some Miracle Grow or some 20-20-20 and give it to it and with the water when it's thirsty, when it's ready to receive. Not when the soil's wet and heavy.
Okay. Somebody says they live in Arizona and they're trying to grow mamey. It's been hard due to the summer heat, but what do you suggest?
And by the way, I think I got a fruit on my K40 mamey. If I do, I'll document it and post it on my Facebook or Instagram. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Somebody's trying to grow mamey in Arizona,
right?
And they're saying it's been hard due to the summer heat. What do you suggest?
Make like a little shade house for the tree. Maybe like 55% shade. Temporarily for the hot season, for the most extreme time of the year. Just put like a little shade house over it. Put like a little roof with some shade. And that should do the job. If 55% is not enough, get 73%. I think that's the next number up. There's even 85%. And that will provide the temperature change that you need to. They're probably 120 degrees Fahrenheit over there, 130, a crazy number like that. Can you imagine that? We're complaining about 94 degrees, but we got humidity. We get hit in the face with humidity every day.
That's why you all need a beard, because it's like being in the shade all day long.
Oh yeah, it keeps you cool.
Yeah.
It's a buffer. It's a buffer
Keeps the sun off the face.
for the humidity.
Yeah. All right. So we had a question about white sapote. Other than redlands, what varieties of white sapote do best in Loxahatchee, Florida? And will my redlands fruit without another white sapote?
It probably will fruit without another white sapote, but the seeds will be skinny, aborted seeds. Skinny, flat, aborted seeds. So the smaller the seed, when you have a pollinated seed, it's big. It's about this big. Here's a white sapote seed. Okay, and if you have like 3 or 4 of these in the fruit, it's going to be a big fruit. So the more seeds it has, the bigger the fruit. But if the seeds are aborted and the tree will hold on, unlike Mamey, it will hold on to the fruit. Even though they don't have viable seeds, it'll still hold on to it. Now, if it gets pollinated with somebody else, it's going to have a big fruit.
Okay. What variety of Mamey sapote on your site would you recommend if you could only grow one? I have limited space, hoping to fit one in.
Maybe Magana. I mean, it's the classic variety of Mamey. It doesn't grow too big. It grows short and wide instead of straight up like a candle. It makes big fruit. It's an eye catcher. Scratch it in the middle to see if it's ready to pick. If it's red, if it's red in the middle, it's ready to pick. Simple as that.
Okay, somebody says I have a hidden mango tree that's leading to the left. How can I save this tree?
From the storm, I assume, right? I got pushed to the side from the wind. Just put like get like a 2x4 and just dig it in there and just push it to the ground like that, and it'll hold it from leaning over even more. Or 2x6, but that should cost like $20, $30 for a 2x6.
Okay. Somebody said, I live in Arizona. I have 3 mango trees in a pot, a Gary, a lemon meringue, and an M4. No, Namduk, my number 4. I can only put 2 in the ground. Which ones?
Gary, Namdak Mai, and what else?
Lemon meringue in Arizona.
And he can only put how many in the ground? Just one?
Two of the 3.
Oh, Gary and lemon meringue.
For sure.
2 different flavors, 2 completely different. One tastes like tangerine orange, and the other one tastes like Right, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
One tastes like tangerine orange, and the other one tastes like lemon meringue pie.
Yes. All right. Is the texture of the Guatemala mamey the same as the paste mamey?
The texture. I remember the
much drier, right?
I remember the texture of the Guatemala #1 being like I described it as, and I have my friend Chemo, Captain Chemo, who's a famous photographer, as a witness and a co-participant in trying this fruit. And me and him agreed it felt like eating raisin covered, yogurt covered raisins. It gave me that feel. It had that kind of consistency. The flavor was phenomenal. It made me excited about Mamey. And I haven't been, I love paste and everything. Paste let me tell you, has a really fruity flavor to it as well. And it's reliable and it ripens evenly and it makes a lot of fruit. But this one has something to it that I've never tried before and never had before. And it was from Guatemala, the origin of Mamey, Central America, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, all the way down to Costa Rica. And I've never had anything like this before. So that really got my attention. And my friend Kimo, he agreed. He's not a Mamey person. He's not a fan of Mamey. And he was really taken aback. He was really surprised. And just as enthused as I was about it. So that says a lot.
Okay. Can Simmons or Reed avocado fruit in a pot?
Yeah. I got in 25 gallons and in 15-gallon fruiting avocados. I mean, they have to be grafted. As long as they're grafted, it's going to make fruit at a certain time, sooner or later. And they don't have to be in the ground. I think even in the pot, it fruits easier because they're so stressed out being in a pot. So their instinct is to make fruit.
Okay. John says, I am growing citrus in zone 5B in the Rocky Mountain, Denver region. I had to bring them inside to over the winter, and they are drooping some leaves. Is this the same thing I should is this something I should be concerned with?
Yeah, it sounds like lack of water. And the leaves are drooping down, it's lack of water. So, I mean, this is citrus?
Citrus, yes.
Yeah, okay. It shouldn't be hard. I mean, I know it gets cold over there. I mean, the hardest part would be, bringing it inside the house. But if you can do that and sit it next to a window, and let's say it's 45 degrees inside your house, which I doubt it's ever going to be 45 degrees in your house. But as long as it's above, 32 degrees in your house, it's going to be fine. It needs to get sunlight and put it next to a window.
It has a grow light, he says.
Okay, grow light is good. Grow light is good. But yeah, get a moisture meter, because if you see leaves drooping, the first thing you got to do is stick your finger in the ground and see what's going on. See if it's dry or if it's wet, or buy a moisture meter.
Yes, okay. Bro, Tom from Sleepy Lizard just joined. Hello, Tom. Good seeing you here, man. So we got a question about this is a good one. Any recommendations on growing Mamey in Southern California, grass, varieties, etc.?
Any what? Any recommendations for what?
Growing Mamey in Southern California.
On what variety?
Well, any recommendations? Any varieties to
Oh,
grow,
in
graphs or
short,
anything?
just use Miracle Grow, all-purpose Miracle Grow. 2 tablespoons and a gallon of water. Mix it really good and pour it on the roots every month or every 2 weeks. Be even better. Make sure you have good drainage. So when you plant it, if it's sandy, that's fine. If it's not sandy, if it's mucky and wet or muddy or whatever.
Okay. So it will grow in Southern California?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or-
I have people growing it there now.
okay. Somebody's asking on the Guatemalan mamey's, is there 3 or 4 varieties?
There's 4 varieties. There's 4 varieties. I've only tried 2 out of the 4. And that's the one that I called. I found the G1 first, and then I found a second one that didn't have any fruit, and then came across the third one that did have fruit and that was ready to pick. And then I found out later on there was a fourth one, but it didn't have any fruit either. And these trees are they're 25 years old.
Okay. I want to remind all of you is there's 64 of you on right now and only 19 likes. The more you like this, the more YouTube's going to show it to other people. So please just hit that like button or that thumbs button so more people can see us. Another question is what mango variety would be good for indoors growing in Colorado?
Something dwarfy. Leave in a pot. Um, Pickering would be good. It's very easy. They fruit very easily. I think Pickering's the way to go.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an
Okay.
easy one. It makes fruit right away, and the fruit's really good.
All right. First time listener. Hello, George. He says, what is the top three mangoes and avocados, and are they in stock?
Things come and go. I try to keep things in stock as best as I can throughout the year. Um, so you got to check back if something's sold out. Um, so the best three avocados. Um, I mean, like I said before, Paul, this is like a Miss Universe contest. It's hard to pick. I mean, I had a Catalina the other day. You had like recommended somebody to me for avocados, and he came over and he was like, Julian, I'm sick of eating all these Florida avocados that are just terrible. They're all watery, it's all crap. And everybody tells me they're so good. I want to know why. I want to know why, Julian, why? And I happened to have a Catalina avocado, perfectly ripe. And I cut him a slice. I'm like, here, man, try this. You know, I was eating it. He was like, oh, yeah, man. Oh, this is it. This is the one, man. This is the one. Oh, yeah. Just munching on it. Like he's never had anything that good before. This is it. This is West Indian avocado. There's three kinds of avocado. There's West Indian, there's Guatemalan, and Mexican. Mexican, you crunch up the leaf, and it smells like black licorice. It's really interesting. You can make tea with the leaf. And my friend Tom from Sleepy Lizard, he crunches the leaf in his teeth, and he gets the flavor of the black licorice. I haven't tried that yet. I'm going to try that one day. But
Okay.
okay, real quick, top three avocados. I mean, you can't lose with any of these. So let's go. Let's say Simmons. This is a classic pick. Simmons for the summer. Catalina for the fall. Choquette for December, January, February, and that's it. Three avocados. And then mango. Let's say I love Gary. I like that ambrosia mango. You're not gonna find that mango anywhere. I don't even know why I'm saying that, but yeah, maybe Alex has it at Tropical Acres. He might
Yeah, he
have
does. He can
ambrosia.
craft anything there. Yeah.
Maybe he has some available right now. He might get a call for that one since we're mentioning it. But you agree, right? Ambrosia and you know what? Lemon zest or lemon meringue. Close your eyes and just wherever the finger falls, you can't lose.
I don't, I mean, taste is so subjective, and I don't think the ambrosia, it's great, but it was a great one that day. But I mean,
I mean, you said it was the best one of the day,
of the day,
and
but
we
we were
tried
in
20
late
mangoes
season.
that day.
We were in late season.
Yeah, we tried 20 mangoes. To beat 20 mangoes, and for Paul to say yes, this is the mango of the day. That's a lot, and we had good mango.
I'd still pick a
What, White Perry?
white puri or a sunrise even. I love sunrise. So
Yeah,
taste is so subjective. I love my lemon meringue.
I
Lemon,
like White Perry too. White Perry was very, very pleasant. That's the word for White Perry. It's very pleasant.
yeah. But in terms of top three avocados and top three mangoes, taste is subjective, but I would recommend you, since you're first time a listener, check out my videos, my playlist on avocados and also mangoes, because I've done a lot of interviews with Julian and Alex at Tropical Acres Farms and a lot of other people doing taste tests everyone has something different to say, but you get a good census of what most people like. But you really can't go wrong. Somebody here said you can't go wrong as long as you stay away from Cogswall. uh,
I, I I can see why people don't
yeah,
like Crocs. So it's kind of not very sweet, kind of watered down. It's like a
yeah,
watered down. It's like a Diet Glen.
yeah, yeah.
Call
All
it
right.
Diet Glen.
So exciting question now. A white sapote question.
All right.
If anyone missed my video, I put a video out yesterday about white sapote and just loving it. But which trees are early and late season white sapote?
You know, one thing we should start doing is documenting the seasons of these varieties.
I'm gonna do
Because
that.
you're
I
saying
already
that,
have the answer. I already know. Like I've interviewed, not interviewed, but I've been watching this fellow in Australia who has a great channel, Fruitopia, and he has three varieties. And I could tell you, he said, now this is Australia, so it's a little backward season, but he has a Vernon that's off season than the other trees. So I was wondering, is there one season for all white sapotes? Because that's what I always thought. But
you
he
know,
has a Vernon that's off season.
I had Woolly Leaf, Homestead, Young Hands, and Redlands, and they all made fruit more or less the same time. I
Yeah.
didn't really say, I mean, maybe Young Hands fruited a little bit more, but they all fruited a lot. They all made a lot of fruit and multiple times a year, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. It's not a one time a year thing. You get it in the spring, we get it in the fall, and sometimes you get a fluke here and there.
Yeah, I have Subel and Redlands, and my Subel was 1 month later than my Redlands. So
Yeah, we need to study the seasons of these
I'm gonna
varieties
do this because it's my favorite fruit
and
to grow here in
document.
South Florida. I'm gonna do it. And I got now's a good time to say this about white sapote. So if those of you know, I got this bumper sticker that says make fruit trees great again.
I
So it's a
love it.
great sticker for your car. And I just thought of a new bumper sticker I should get. Uh how about this one? White sapote matters.
Oh wow, that's
There you
hilarious.
go. There you go.
That's hilarious.
But
It does matter because it's very underrated fruit.
the most underrated fruit.
It's the most underrated
Yeah.
fruit, and it's something that people like. It's something like somebody who's never tried it before. Someone's never really, I've only tried mango and they eat this fruit and they're instantly a fan of white sapote. And there was a lot of bad varieties out there. Maybe that's why. Back in the days, people were just getting their hands. The only thing you can get your hands on was seedlings because grafting it was out of the question. Too much of a hassle for this mediocre fruit. And let me tell you, a person that really promoted white sapote and promoted it to me when I was younger, when I was like a teenager and in my early 20s, the person that really promoted white sapote to me was a man by the name of Crafton Clift, who is a legend and an icon in the tropical fruit world, and he really inspired me to look into white sapote and find good varieties that are out there and get them grafted. And I think once grafted white sapotes got out there, and I started promoting the fruit as well with the varieties that I have in my place, it really caught on because whenever I have that fruit in season, almost everybody that will come over here, I will make sure they try a white sapote, just so they can take that with them. They can take that story with them and tell people about this fruit that no one's ever even heard of, and it should be in everybody's backyard. And it could
Yep.
be.
That leads into the next question. Uh, oh, by the way, California and Hawaii. I know somebody from Hawaii that came to visit me this year, and I have a big farm in Hawaii. And he said the Hawaiian and the California varieties are superior to the Florida varieties of white sapote. Now, an experiment I'd like to do in the future is to see if those varieties will grow here in Florida. I don't see why they wouldn't, but there are many more varieties in California than there are in Florida for some reason.
Well,
And
it's the reason is because it's native to Central America, to Mexico, and especially Mexico. And it's native. So California is right next to Mexico. So of course they're gonna, and they can take cold too. They can take more than 32 degrees. I don't know how far down they can go, maybe 25. But since they're a family member of citrus, they can take colder temperatures than regular tropical fruit trees. And in California, that's a good thing because it gets cold over there. And yes, they would have a lot of varieties because it's native over there. So they probably have a lot of good varieties in Mexico, and California has probably developed a lot of varieties too. But the ones down here in Florida, I mean, they're not as pretty as they are in California. Get a lot of scarring on the skin and stuff, and they don't turn completely yellow all the time. But they're damn good. The ones that we have here in Florida,
Amazing,
they
amazing.
taste fine. I would love to have a superior one that I've never had. Because Campbell to me was just, I mean, it knocked my socks off.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of tasting a good amount of California varieties, but I didn't know the names of them. I knew I had a Subel. I knew that one I ate every day out there, but I don't know the others. So next question is, what fruits do you think will go viral soon, but are still largely unknown? And they wrote, I think Baobab, fruit, Capel, apple, and pawpaw are top candidates. So let me say about this. I had Babel fruit in Australia. I don't think that's going to go viral anytime soon. And I don't know about Capel apple, but I can say pawpaw. I don't, I found out there's a neurotoxin in the Annona family. Some people say it's just in the leaves and the seeds, but it might be in the fruit. But in the study of that, pawpaw had the highest amount of this neurotoxin, like a really high amount, and it was in the fruit. So I hope people research that because, you know, I'm not going to tell people to stop eating Anonas, but I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable eating pawpaw after seeing some of the studies. But I think the white sapote, what we're just talking about, as we make more videos on that, will become more popular.
Yeah.
You can answer that, Julian.
Yeah, I like pawpaw. I mean, I probably just had it once in my whole life, and I thought it was delicious, like pineapple and sugar apple and banana mixed together. And it's really cool that it's from North America. And it's the only Annona species that grows in the cold. Well, there could be more out there, but it's probably the only one that makes a big fruit in North America, and it's an Annona species. So I thought that was really cool. And the Keppel fruit, which does grow down here in South Florida, but it's not very well known. I know someone around here in the Redlands that has a big fruiting tree, and that one, the Keppel fruit, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, that one is like a natural deodorant. It takes away your body odor. Eat this fruit. Um, it makes your poop smell nice. It makes your armpits smell nice, and you don't have to use deodorant. That's the story behind the fruit, behind the Keppel fruit, and I think it's native to India. And I'm pretty sure there's people out there like Bobby Biswas that can tell you more about it. But yeah, what was the other one? The third?
Uh, the the other one was the baobab fruit.
Oh,
Baobab fruit.
well, you already talked about it.
Yes, yeah. Uh, let's see. Is it possible to grow a pace Mamey in Arizona? I have a 10 to 15 width space by my home.
Well, people are growing it in Arizona. They're growing mangoes and other stuff, but they have to take measures to protect it from the extreme heat, especially when a tree is very little. They're very susceptible. The smaller they are, the more susceptible they are to the situations, which is could be overwatering, too much sunlight, harsh, extreme sunlight, or extreme heat, and so on, or lack of water. A lot of things you got to be aware of. You got to be mindful of for small trees. You got to make sure it has the right amount of water and the right amount of sunlight.
Okay. What's the toughest mango rootstock you've come across? I'm outside Florida and a turpentine just can't handle the dramatic temperature swings.
Um, I use anything as a rootstock, as long as it looks healthy and pretty. It could be a monoembryonic or polyembryonic, like a turpentine.
Okay. Ronnie's asking, how long does it take for your house variety Camito 1 gallon plants to fruit in the pot?
Those things are very precocious. They make flowers right away, but they don't self-pollinate. You need to have if you have another tree in your neighborhood that's different from mine, which most likely it is, it will pollinate your tree, but it won't self-pollinate. So if you just have one, you need to get another one that's different, and it should fruit like in 2 years. I've had them fruit in a 7 gallon pot.
All right, I got 2 super chats. Thank you both so much. Fruit Florida. Uh, they want to need white sapote matters. Bumper stick. Okay, great. Hey, thank you for your super chat. Super chat is open, everybody. Joe Walco asks, and thank you for the super chat. How often do you recommend fertilizing mango and avocado trees? Some say mangoes need more when established. A lot of conflicting info out there. Have a lot of trees and fertilizer is expensive. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, after they get a certain size, they can pretty much take care of themselves. What I do is I don't pick up the leaves. I mean, if you come to my farm, the floor underneath my mamey trees or mango trees, they're covered in leaves, and they break down throughout the year. So over here, we got 40 years of leaves here at the office, this property, and then down the street at the other property, we have 5 acres. Over there, we got 20 years of leaves. So that works as a fertilizer, kind of like a recycling fertilizer. And in the beginning, you're going to have to fertilize it if it's young until it gets established. And once they get established, they can pretty much take care of themselves. In some cases, they can find the necessary water they need by themselves. But once they get established, and fertilizing your trees, it's a good idea to get them established. So even though mangoes don't need nitrogen, it will be okay to give them a little bit of nitrogen just to get them big, fast, so they can start making fruit. And then once they get the desired size, you can stop fertilizing and just let it do its thing on its own. Because really, mangoes don't need fertilizer, but I'm talking about like an established tree. Getting a small tree, like for me on my website, you buy a 1 gallon tree. I would, I would recommend like a slow release fertilizer, like Pure Coat that takes 3 or 6 months to dissolve. Maybe like a tablespoon per gallon pot. So if it's in a 1 gallon, so that's 1 tablespoon. But my soil comes mixed with that already, so you don't have to worry about that until maybe you put it in a bigger pot until it's ready to go into a bigger pot. If you put it in a 3 gallon, so that's going to need 3 tablespoons. So pretty much you got to do it like that for mangoes. Once they get a certain size where they're capable of making fruit and holding fruit, you can pretty much stop. If you want to spoil them, give them some iron and or there's a fertilizer out there that everybody uses for mango called 0022, and you can apply that tablespoon per every foot of height the tree has every 4 months, I guess, or at least after they make fruit. After they make fruit's the best time.
Which variety of persimmon is best for a small yard in Jupiter, Florida? Does it need to be a second tree for pollination, or will I get fruit with 1 tree?
Persimmon?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Persimmon, you need a a Virginiana to cross-pollinate with the Triumph persimmon. I don't think they self-pollinate very well.
Well, I mean, I have well that's a good question because I have a Triumph and a South Florida, and my neighbor has a South Florida. I mean, we get some fruit on there, not a lot, but they're younger trees. So you're saying if we had a Virginiana, they would fruit better most likely?
I got 4 in the ground, 20 years old. They flower every year. Well, one of them out of the 4 flower every year. The other 3 don't flower. Well, actually, yeah, they all flower, but only one makes fruit.
Really?
Yeah, out of the Virginianas. But they cross-pollinate the Triumphs. And I don't think they'll make, I get a lot of fruit. My trees get covered in.
Yeah, loaded.
Yeah, they get loaded. And I credit it to that. I mean, that's the reason why I planted it. By instruction, the man who gave me the budwood of the Triumph like 25 years ago was Bill Lassard. He was a grower here in the Redlands. He had these Triumph persimmons back then. And he told me, grow these Virginiana rootstocks and I'll give you some budwood. And I did just that because I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I wanted to have it.
So you're saying if you're gonna have a Triumph tree, it's good to have one of those other ones in the ground as well. Interesting.
Correct. Correct.
See, we're all learning here. I'm learning here. Okay. So even if you have 2 varieties and one of them is not that variety, if you have a South Florida and a Triumph, that wouldn't be good enough?
It's a good question. I will feel safer to have a Virginiana.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that really works. I already know for a fact it works.
Okay. Yeah, your tree's loaded. Yeah. Which mango varieties flower easily without significant chill hours?
What kind of trees?
Mango.
You think? I don't know. And sometimes we don't get a lot of chill hours. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
which ones?
chill hours, I mean, it gets into the 30s here or the low 40s, but in its native land in India, it probably doesn't get colder than the 60s. So within these chill hours,
No, without significant chill hours. Which
well,
one?
60 degrees is not significant. And I guess it's sufficient because in its native land of India, it doesn't get colder than 60 degrees in the winter where mangoes are native from. And they're a subtropical fruit tree. So maybe it can take stuff in the 40s. But I don't know if it gets that cold in India, in the part of India where it's native to.
What kind of avocado are you eating?
This is a seedling that I found at my neighbor's house that he was growing, and I asked him for budwood a long time ago. And I just planted it in the ground just to try to keep trying it because he knocked down his tree. So his tree doesn't exist anymore. So I have a tree in my collection because I liked it and I grafted it, planted it, and I haven't tried it in years. I almost forgot about it that I had it, and it was on a map, and I saw it and I remembered it, and I went to the tree to pick like another avocado. I went to go pick up Berniker for something else, and I saw that the tree had a couple of fruit on it, so I picked it and brought it here to the office, and it ripened up today.
Wow.
And it's good. I mean, it's a little bit on the watery side. It's not as sticky as I want it to be, but it's really good.
All right, we have another avocado question. Somebody says, can you talk about the Nogama and the Rayon avocados?
Okay. Nogama is has like a short, long neck. It's kind of a long avocado, and the neck has a fat neck like that. It's like the neck's about this short, and the body down here. So it's a good size avocado. Has kind of a wrinkly, bumpy skin. You can tell it's a hybrid between a Guatemalan and a West Indian, or Mexican and West Indian. It's very sticky, not watery at all. And the way I was eating it, it was so big, I was just cutting the top. I was just cutting the top and just peeling and just eating and just continue cutting and cutting, 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 cutting. It has such a nice neck. And such a nice flavor. It's really sticky. I don't remember if it was easy peel or hard to peel, but I really thought it was special just by the flavor. But yeah, Nogama. I got budweiser and I brought it back because I had to graft it. I had to have it because it was so good. And then the Don Ramon, I have a tree in the ground that I top worked, but I haven't got any fruit off of it yet. But there's a picture from Puerto Rico of this lady holding this Don Ramon, and it was bigger than a baby. It's humongous. And the smile on the lady's face said it all.
Mm-hmm. All right. This next question is, does the Pickering mango self-pollinate, or do you need a second plant to pollinate?
Self-pollinate. And if it has another one to cross-pollinate, even better. But it will self-pollinate.
All right. Leo's asking, does the young hands white sapote produce reliably and grows well in zone 10B?
I would say 27 degrees, 25 degrees Fahrenheit will be the limit. I would go on Google and research it. What's the limit on that? How much cold it can take? Because I know it's more than mango. It can take more cold than mango.
Absolutely, you can. It's yeah. I think they say zone 9. It'll definitely grow in zone 9. LA zone 9, I think, and it grows there really well. So I don't know about that variety, but just white sapote in general.
Yeah, all white. They'll all perform the same.
Yeah. Are there any known diseases to white sapote? They don't get the citrus greening, do they? Okay.
They're pretty maintenance free, Paul.
Yeah, the guy in Australia, he once got some scale on it, and he just sprayed the tree and it was
Yeah, you
fine.
spray it with copper, kind of like avocados get scale.
Yeah.
So if
And
you're a commercial grower of white sapote, then yeah, you would have to spray with copper.
yeah.
And it's cool. We got a viewer from Australia. I love me some Australia, man. I grew up watching Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, is the Campbell white sapote self-pollinating? Well, that's a good leads to the question, is white sapote self-pollinating? We answered it earlier. We answered it earlier. Did we answer that? Is white sapote self-pollinating? I think you said if there's another
Yeah.
variety around, the fruit will be bigger and have more seeds, but it will self-pollinate.
Yeah.
If you don't.
Yeah. It'll make you small, boarded, flat seeds and small fruit.
Which is pretty amazing because my neighbor has a big giant white sapote tree, and the fruits were always the size of a golf ball, always. And then when I moved in, I planted my white sapote tree, and all of a sudden his fruit started to come out size like baseballs.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The
In
proof is
fact,
in the pudding.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. They always pollinate better with more diversity. This is when we want diversity in nature.
Somebody said, what variety of Mamey sapote should I use to grow rootstock for practicing grafting?
I use a lot of Key West for my rootstock. My rootstocks are probably 90% Key West, and they'd make great rootstocks. So does Tazumal, but Key West is easier to access.
Okay. Now, if they're just practicing, would any variety, any seed be okay? If it's just
Yeah,
practice.
yeah, yeah. Even, even for serious grafting.
Okay. Thoughts on Yugato avocado? Does Julian grow it? I think that's the dwarf one, right?
What's it called?
Yugato? I think it's the dwarf one.
Ugaldo? No, I don't have it. I don't have it, and I don't know if it's a dwarf. I think a friend of mine has one, and he says it's not a dwarf. I think if my memory recalls, he was complaining that it wasn't a dwarf, but I don't remember for sure if it was an Ugaldo.
Okay. Somebody said they'd like to hear more about the tropical persimmon, the taste and the challenges of grafting and propagating it. I have a tree and it tastes great, but it's astringent, so you can't eat it when it's hard. You gotta wait till it gets soft. But as for propagating it, maybe you could answer, Julian.
Propagating it, you got to graft it when it comes out of dormancy in the spring, and graft it on Virginiana rootstock, and if you can't, maybe black sapote.
Okay. White sapote question. Somebody lives in Sarasota, zone 10A. What white sapote do you recommend? I have limited space.
Well, I like Redland. Redland's a good one. I like Campbell, but that one's on pre-order. But if you want something right now, I recommend Redland. I mean, that's a reliable variety.
Yep. Yeah, Redland's delicious. And they grow big, but you can keep them cut back. You can keep them shorter. You have to because they're humongous trees if you don't. So you have to prune them every year. And I know the guy in Australia, he prunes them and keeps them way short. Unlike mangoes, if you keep them way short, if it's a big variety, you're not going to get much fruit. But from what I see, and I don't know if it's true, but if it's a big variety of white sapote and you keep it short, you'll still get a pretty good amount. But
Yeah, you just gotta be proactive on cutting it back like a little bit every year. Not
somebody,
every not every 5 years, like every
yeah,
year, every
yep,
single year.
yep.
Kind of
Somebody
like
said,
what you do at Trek.
yeah, like every year. Okay. Somebody says, I don't have a Mamey close to pollinate the paste Mamey, but if I add a Jamaica Mamey, which I ordered, would that be
Yeah,
fine?
yes.
Okay. Uh, Somebody's asking about the Wartz avocado. Anything about that?
I haven't tried the warts. I've never tried the warts, and there's not one that I've seen at the fruit and spice park. I mean, wow, man, I'm so lucky growing up. I've had access, not really access, but I was friendly with people at the fruit and spice park, and I was able to get and try so many things because of that place and those people. And my dad working at Trek for 25 years, and me growing up there and coming familiar with all the different fruits and all the people that work there too, and Fairchild Gardens and having Richard Campbell pretty much take me under his wing and give me access to budwood or air layers that they had over there in their collection. And one thing that I got from out of many things, I got a lot of things from him. He's pretty much passed on to me because he doesn't grow everything that he had over there. I pretty much have a lot of the stuff that he collected and he brought in. And one of them being is the banana crunch jack. The banana crunch jackfruit is a hybrid between the China and something else. I don't know. I think it was a Galaxy, a jackfruit variety called Galaxy, and it was a hybrid of those two varieties. And he gave me probably like 12 seedlings that he hybridized with these random varieties. And the one out of the bunch that I liked the most was Banana Crunch. And I've just been really lucky, you know, All right, I'm back.
What was the variety of jackfruit that is named after the town in India, the dwarf one?
Oh yeah, Cochin.
Cochin. Is that an easy peel or not an easy peel?
Yes, easy peel.
Easy peel.
Super easy. It's like a champa deck easy. The ones that are like champa deck easy to open up, it's the banana crunch, Cochin, golden nugget, and the China. And black gold also. Those are the easy to get into jackfruits. The rest are super hard. We had a Borneo Red the other day, and that's not an easy peel jackfruit. But whoa, what a great jackfruit! That is a phenomenal jackfruit.
I got a lemon gold from you, and that wasn't easy peel, but it was good. It ripened
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. That's a hard to get into, but tastes good.
Yeah.
Daniel Racimi's another one that's hard to get into. Tabui's another hard to get into. 9545D's hard to get into, but they're phenomenal jackfruits.
All right, we're gonna speed through these next questions, everybody, because for sake of time. Uh, but we'll do this again. Uh, let's see. Thoughts on a multi-graft 4-in-1?
Say again?
A multi-graft mango tree 4-in-1. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's doable. Just just graft varieties that have the same growth pattern. But all dwarfs or all big ones, just don't mix dwarf and big ones on one tree.
Okay, is it okay to plant a mango tree from a 3-gallon pot into the ground, or should you pot it? Uh,
No, it's fine. You can
yeah.
plant it, go straight in the ground. Just put a bamboo, strong bamboo, tied to the bamboo, so the wind doesn't beat it up.
All right, Ronnie asks, has your no mai chi liche ever flowered?
The no my chi has it ever flowered for me? No, no my chi. There's no my chi here. Only the tree.
Okay. Somebody says that your shirt, they like your shirt.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you sell those shirts on your website?
yeah. I sell them on my website. It's my tropical collection polo shirts, and well, my May logo here. There's no, there's nothing in the back. It's just a regular shirt, and I have only thing that you can see that's from me is the neck tag that says Lara Farms, uh, Miami Tropical Collection, and I'm going to be getting pretty soon more shirts, because I'm kind of running out of these. But I'm getting more shirts, but with coconut, dragon fruit, avocado, and what was the other one? Oh, sugar apple.
Nice. Okay.
So that's next on the chopping block. I should be getting that within the months ahead. So, and it's a nice shirt to go to the movies. It's, go to dinner. You can spark conversations with people, people that are like-minded into tropical fruits. They notice the shirt and notice this, and you can meet new people that are like-minded.
Okay. Cheryl's asking, is Triumph a better persimmon than San Pablo and Fernandez? And do you sell persimmon trees? But I think you got it mixed up. San Pablo and Fernandez are custard apples, not persimmons.
Right.
And he does sell persimmon trees. And yes, so that answers that. On his website, check it out. Uh, somebody said I have room for 2 mango trees in the ground in Arizona. I have oh no, we already asked that question. Let's see. Uh can paste or Jamaica fruit in a pot?
Yeah. Yes. Paste flowers right away. It could be in a 3-gallon pot and be flowering and wanting to make fruit, even though
Okay.
it probably won't. But yeah, they can make fruit in a pot. They have, maybe when it's in a 15-gallon, can start maybe holding some fruit. But it's all a question of size. They have to be like 5 feet tall, something like that, in order to start holding fruit.
Okay. Do all Mamey seedlings produce fruit?
Sorry?
Do all Mamey seedlings produce fruit?
Yes. Yes, they all do. But they take as long as a human being to reach sexual maturity. So when they start making fruit, they need to be, 10 years old, 8 years old, 15 years old. Everybody's different. Everybody, has their age of maturity. They start making fruit. And another thing is you don't know if it's going to grow up to be a good mamey or a bad mamey. And always cross our fingers. I hope it's a good mamey because it's a long time to wait for a bad seed. That's why
Uh,
we grafted. We figured it out already. That's why you got people like us looking out and hunting down the best of the best and getting them grafted. Because no one's going to come to me, Julian, look at this crappy mamey. They're going to bring me the best, where I'm going to stumble across it, find it. We're fruit hunters,
yeah.
tropical fruit hunters. That's what we are.
Ex Julian is what temperate zone are you in?
I'm in South Florida. I'm in Homestead. I mean, the coldest that gets here is low 30s, mid 30s.
So you're in
And
10B, right?
I don't know exactly what zone I am in.
I think that would be 10B down there.
Yeah,
Uh,
but the furthest one. I mean, the furthest one would be the Keys.
well, Puerto Rico, actually. You can grow durian in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, no, but we're not connected. At least we
Yeah.
got a bridge to the Keys. There's Grimmel Farms where Grimmel Farms on Big Pine Key grows breadfruit, and those trees don't get burned. They don't get the cold burn that I get here at my farm. So, but you gotta live.
How many hours south is that from you?
2.5 hours. It's a nice little drive.
Okay. Somebody said Subel white sapote is a dwarf tree, I believe. I don't know. I don't agree with that. All white sapotes get big, and mine's growing fast, so I wouldn't call it a dwarf. Maybe compared to other white sapotes, but it's getting big. I had a
There's a big one at Trek, the humongous one there.
yeah.
But I like Campbell better than Subel.
The taste of the white sapote I don't like. They're all amazing.
Yeah, they
Uh,
are. Well,
somebody
there's some bitter ones. You don't want the bitter ones. There's
yeah, but even the bitter ones, because it's the skin that's bitter.
Yeah,
And
no, but they leave you a bitter aftertaste. You
the
haven't
skin,
tried one.
right? But the skin.
No, no, the fruit. The
Okay.
fruit gives you a bitter aftertaste.
You know which ones they are?
Well, it can be a redland if you don't let it ripen completely. But common seedlings, those are the ones that give you bitter aftertaste, not these selected varieties.
Okay. The thoughts on green sapote. Do you grow it as a mamey alternative?
Um,
I heard it takes
no.
forever to bear fruit, they said.
Well, green sapote makes fruit around the same time Jamaica does. December, January, February. But it's a tiny version of a mamey. Okay. It tastes good. It's on the fruity side. And it's a nice alternative, and it can take a little bit more cold than mamey because it's from the mountaintops of Guatemala. And there's some high mountains there. And it does fine up there. And it's a cousin of mamey. It looks just like a mamey tree. And the flowers look just like mamey, but it makes this green skinned fruit that sometimes turn completely red. And inside it's just like a mamey. But it's about this big. It's about this big. And this is a big one. If you find one this big, congratulations. But Jamaica's they get about this big. I don't know if you guys can figure out my scaling, but it's a decent small mamey size.
I've seen it much smaller, actually, much smaller.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest ones are like this big, and then they have a range of different sizes. They
Got you.
don't make anything uniform.
What is the shortest time that you've seen a Mamey fruit from seed?
The fastest, I think, my dad would tell me how surprised he was with pace because from seed it fruited like in 6 years, 6 or 7 years, and he was very surprised on how precocious pace was, and uh, and that's one of the reasons why my dad was so excited over this mamey because it fruited so much and so easily and so fast, and what was on his mind was like, wow, I can sell these trees really easily because the customer is going to see a May tree in 3 gallons full of flower, and it's going to be something that's going to sell very easily because that's what customers want to see. They want to see progress. They want to see flower on the tree at least, if not a fruit. So, and I've even seen little mameys like this on a 3 gallon tree, which really don't make it, but it's the effort that the tree is making to do something. That's their instinct. This one, for some reason, wants to flower and fruit right away. Unlike Key West, for example. Key West, you graft it, and it won't fruit until it's like in a 25-gallon pot. Compared to Pace, which will start flowering. Well, Key West won't flower until it's in a 25-gallon pot or a 15-gallon pot. This Pace will flower in a 3 gallon.
Okay. We're getting towards the end here, everybody. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We got a few more questions here. Julian, you wouldn't happen to have a relative named Barbado Lara? Are your are your kids going to continue the Lara Farm legacy?
That'll be because I'm pretty much continuing my father's work. I really see what I'm doing as doing my father's work, like continuing his work, and the legacy of Lara Farms, trying to keep it alive and going. And I just had a baby boy this year. He was born in January, and I'm 52. So, and when he's 20 years old, okay, I'm hoping that he'll listen to me. But I'm going to be 70, so it's it's going to be it's going to take a lot of convincing for me to believe that a 20-year-old is going to listen to a 70-year-old telling him what he needs to do with his life. But whatever happens is fine with me. I have an older daughter too. She's 11 years old, and if she becomes interested in this business, I'll be more than happy to teach her. But she has other ambitions. I think she wants to be a journalist. And at 11, her talking about journalism and going to journalism class in her school, choosing it as an elective, says a lot. So I don't see my kids taking over the business. Maybe something else will happen. Maybe a nephew will want to run the business. I'm not sure, but it would definitely be nice to continue the Lara Farms legacy.
Well, at 20, you weren't interested in it either until you woke up and figured out what a gold mine you had there, right?
Yeah, I didn't figure that out until I was like 24. When I was 20, I worked with my dad. I started working with my dad when I was 14 years old. And, at times by force, I would want to stay home Saturday mornings and watch my cartoons. Even at 14, I was watching cartoons. I was, or talking on the phone. But my dad would drag me over here and make me graft. He would make me graft citrus. He would make me graft avocados, mangoes, sapodilla, you name it. He'll throw everything at me. And when customers would come over, I would listen to all the conversations. I would listen to all the advice my dad would give people, and I would ask him questions and so on and so on. And I pretty much gained a lot of my dad's knowledge just from listening and practicing. and trial and error. And he was a great teacher and a great friend. And he did, he did something that very few people did, which was help other people learn to do what he does. And made a lot of friends. He was very loved, and in this area, and a lot of those people that loved him were gone too, because they got old. But that's the way life is, isn't it?
Yep. So do you have a relative named Barbado that you know of?
No, no, I don't. But us Laras are very few, so I'm pretty sure we're related somehow. I think the story is that we had three Lara brothers come from Spain to Cuba, and I think one stayed in Cuba, one went to Mexico, and one went to South America. And I guess the rest is history.
Okay. Let's take the last few questions for the night. What would you recommend as an alternative to dwarf avocado?
What's an alternative to dwarf avocado?
Yeah, I think somebody's having a conversation. Never mind. I don't know if that was for you. Let's see. Okay. I've been checking out your site for a while. Borneo Red jackfruit. Any idea when you will have them available again?
Yeah. The problem with jackfruit, we ran out of rootstock, and jackfruit season was this summer. So we planted a whole bunch of seeds a couple of months ago, and they're growing. The rootstocks are growing really nice, but they're not ready yet to be grafted. So when am I going to have more Borneo Red? Hopefully spring next year.
Okay. Somebody says the Zane Red jackfruit taste. Please comment on it and any other relevant info. Thank you.
Yeah. The first time I was aware that there was a red jackfruit that existed here in South Florida, because I knew it existed. Okay, I heard whispers that there was a red flesh jackfruit. Okay, but I didn't never see it or see pictures, and I was very skeptical. And then along one day came Mr. Bobby Biswas to my farm, holding a Ziploc bag full of red flesh jackfruit. He was like walking around my farm, talking to me. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? You're blowing my mind. What are you eating? What is that? Oh, this is just jackfruit. Like, bro, you're killing me, man. What is that? What are you eating? Oh, this is Zane jackfruit. I'm like, bro, give me that. And I tried it, and it was phenomenal. It was crunchy. I'm pretty sure it's a hard to get into jackfruit, but I don't care. This thing's red. I got a picture of it on my website. You click on the name.
Okay. Wow. Somebody said they ordered a bunch of trees from you, and they wish you had the shirt in gray.
Oh, okay. I didn't do gray. I just I think I stuck with navy blue, black, and white.
Okay. Can you graft custard apple onto soursop?
No. Remember that problem with coconut cream that the grass split?
Yeah.
Might happen. You could do that. We grafted reticulata onto we grafted Adamoya. My dad grafted Adamoya on a reticulata, just to mess around, because we didn't have a lot of rootstock, I guess, and we just did it. And the thing grew to a big 15-gallon tree. It made fruit and everything. And one little storm came through, and the graft snapped right off. I'm like, Dad, look what happened. He was like, oh, yeah, it's incompatibility, son. It's incompatibility. I'm like, ooh, interesting.
Okay. Will you ship scions to Hawaii?
Yeah, I think I have a list on my website. I know I have a list on my website, and those are the only budwoods that I sell, the ones that are on the website.
Okay. And you don't ship to Costa Rica, right?
Unfortunately, I don't do international shipping. There's a lot to figure out there. I'm concerned about the shipping. How long is it going to take, and how much the customer is going to have to pay for the shipping? I would prefer them to receive the tree in 2 days or 3 days, but I don't know how much that's going to cost them. So there's a lot to be learned when it comes to international shipping, at least for me.
Okay. Last 5 questions, everybody. What is the coldest Mamey to take? And I'm in Arizona and it gets down to the 30s.
30s is fine. Any mamey, any kind of mamey. It gets down into the 30s here where I'm at almost every year.
Okay.
And the older the tree is, the more cold it can take.
How is the taste of the young hands white sapote?
No bitter aftertaste, very creamy, very pleasant. Tastes like a pear. That's the only comparison to another fruit I can really compare white sapote with is a pear. It has that consistency, but it's much sweeter than a pear. It's like intense, the sweetness. I mean, I even taste a little bit of menthol in there too. So it's kind of like pear with a little bit of menthol in it. But it's very pleasant. It's hard to describe.
Yeah. I mean, they all taste like vanilla cream. It's amazing.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago, like back in the late 90s, I had really no interest in white sapote. And I had a customer say, "You don't have vanilla pudding fruit?" I'm like, vanilla pudding fruit? Like, what are these names? Where are these names coming from? Yeah, vanilla pudding. Tastes like vanilla pudding. Then he ended up explaining to me that white sapote is also known as vanilla pudding fruit. And I was like, yeah, I can see it. I can feel the vanilla pudding, but I can really get the pear. I can really taste pear when I try white sapote. And then he would call black sapote chocolate pudding fruit. Yeah, there's chocolate pudding fruit and vanilla pudding fruit. Those are the two ones that I'm looking for. And really, you're the first person to ask me for that. It was back in the late 90s, unknown. And I wasn't really interested in it. My dad definitely wasn't interested in it. But I guess I was smart enough to go to Mrs. Younghand's house back in the late 90s because Kraft and Cliff told me to. If you want to try good white sapote, you got to go to this lady's house and get Budwood. So yes, I do want to know. I want to know what a good white sapote is, and I did that. And Fruit Spice Park opened me up to the Redlands white sapote and to the woolly leaf, which is the Smathers. And because of that, I liked it. I learned to like it and got to know it because I didn't really know anything about it until then.
How is the Smathers?
Bitter aftertaste.
Okay.
But the leaf is really the cool thing about the Smathers. It's a big fruit. It may be the biggest one out of all. It makes a giant fruit, maybe like this big, like the size, of a Whopper Junior. And but the cool thing about that variety is the leaf. It's really like a woolly leaf. It feels like toilet paper, very soft and velvety.
All right. Can I plant two sapote trees in two? Is two enough to pollinate Mamey flowers?
Two different mamey trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need. That and some bees.
Okay. Last 3 questions, everybody. Uh, Somebody said they ordered a Catalina from you. Beautiful avocado. The seed was a bit large and found them to have a bit of a bitter undertone, even super ripe. Anyone ever noticed this? I do taste examples with people, and somebody told me they They said the same thing about the Catalina. I don't notice it, but they did.
I never noticed any
Yeah.
bitterness.
Somebody told me that, but I don't notice it. I love the Catalina. Uh, how long does it take for your 3-gallon fruit trees to produce fruit? I guess they didn't name what type of fruit, so.
Well, on average, 2 or 3 years, maybe less, depending on what it is.
Leo says he was lucky to meet your dad twice at the farm. Uh, and what diameter wide to keep do you need to plant mangoes and avocados?
The diameter of the trunk.
Yes, I guess, or
I
distance.
guess I guess almost an inch or an inch, inch and a half, inch and some change.
Okay. Uh, okay, let's see. Last question is last question. Somebody says, when will Julian have young hands available, white sapote at the farm?
Well, I had some available just recently, and they just flew off the shelf. I think I may have put like 8 or 10 of them on the website.
Who got the last one?
You.
Yes, the very last one. I'm excited. And I know the guy that got the one before the last one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's uh but you will have more soon, right?
Yeah, sometime next year in the spring.
Now, if white sapote is in the citrus family, can you use a citrus, an orange like or other citrus rootstock? No.
I think I asked my dad that question a long time ago, and he said, "Nope." I mean, why? You have so much seeds.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you all for your questions. If you joined us late and you missed any, please join us again next time. And we'll go back and look at the video and please share this video with others. And thank you, Julian. His website's listed below, LaraFarmsMiami.com. And yeah, and I want to tell everybody make fruit trees great again. You can get one of these
Yes.
bumper stickers, rawlife.com. And anything else you want to share before we finish up here tonight?
Um, just let everybody know that if they have any questions about tropical fruit or about the website, they can always give me a call. I also have on the website a live chat where you can ask me questions there too. And I mean, customer service is really important to me. The first thing you see when you go on my website is my phone number. So rest assured that if you have any questions or any problems, you can always give me a call. Or you can chat with me if you have any questions too. On the live chat, I'm pretty good at answering them.
Great, man. And I do want to tell everybody right now we're in avocado season, and Julian has a variety box of avocados for sale. Highly recommend you get those to taste a bunch of different of the types of the best avocados. And we're going to be going down there soon and doing a carambola starfruit video. And you have how many varieties?
I don't know, a lot, at least 10.
Yeah, so we're gonna be making a cool video with that. Any other ideas or things you'd like me to do when I'm down to let us know. Right around the corner, after the new year, we're gonna start looking at some star fruit. I mean star apple,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
Yes, looking forward to that. That's always fun.
Yeah.
And then we got in the winter. What do we got? Custard apple, right? I remember eating that with a coat last year, so I know it was winter time.
Yeah. Custard apple is in March and April.
Yeah, yeah. So great time, everybody, and yes. So everybody, thank you for watching and more videos to come. I'm continue to post as many videos as possible for you all and keep growing. Thanks, Julian, for your time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching.
All right, we're off the air, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, bro.
That was great. We got a
Thank
lot.
you.